Hello, everyone.
Hey bag ladies and bag dudes, I'm Sarah Lawson from So Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Ask Sarah, my weekly Q&A chat. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us on this lovely Tuesday evening. Are you going to post the comments right away or?
We have comments?
No, the one that I told you to queue up. I saw this comment on the screen before the chat started from Alex. Alex says, I love all the bags I've made so far. 3 airplane bags and over 40 cotton candy pouches. Like, I leaned over and I saw that on the screen and my eyes were bugging out.
Yeah, she almost flipped out, I think.
I was like flipping out and Danny was trying to adjust the light, so I just had to make sure we
Sarah,
got that
look
comment.
Forward.
So thanks everyone for joining us. I see Yvonne, Carolyn from Oklahoma. So thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here tonight. I apologize. Normally I like to wear a nice blouse or a top, but today I just couldn't get there. I had my riding lesson today because I have it every Tuesday. I sort of hobbled into the house after the lesson. It was a workout, a major workout today. We printed some shipping labels for an hour, and then I made an early dinner. The kids had a swimming lesson, and we got back right before the live chat started. So I couldn't make myself take a shower or change my clothes or do my hair. I just didn't have it in me today. So I apologize for my appearance, but still excited to be here and just look from the chin up, and I think we'll be good. All right, so
Jennifer's got a good point.
What is Jennifer? Oh, Jennifer
says, who cares?
says,
Be comfy.
Yeah,
I live by that motto.
That's true. Well, I have to admit something, that normally during the live videos, I'm usually wearing pajama pants or like the most threadbare cotton shorts that I have, just for the sake of comfort. But you know,
I think last week's Social Sunday, if you guys might have caught a glimpse, I was intentionally trying to change so we wouldn't catch it, but she got up one time to grab a bag or something, and you could see she's got her little cotton shorts on and stuff like that, little booty shorts, you know.
No, they're white and they kind of remind me of a towel. They're very comfortable.
Oh,
but
you totally a terry cloth towel.
It's like a terry cloth towel, but
Yep.
they look really. My legs are usually kind of pasty white, and like with white legs, those white shorts look kind of. Mary says, "Be yourself. It's your ideas, not what you are wearing, that matters." Thanks.
See, great support.
So I have a question because I've been getting some emails lately for techniques that people want to know, and a lot of times I'm demoing techniques on my live shows on Sundays that just would not have occurred to me if somebody did not suggest them. I mean, they're fabulous suggestions, but sometimes certain things that people want me to demonstrate just don't occur to me as being things that people want to see. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but so let me know in the comments if there's a certain technique or how to do something or an explanation that you would like to me to demonstrate on my live show, and I'll take a look in the comments after the chat and make a list of all of them.
All right, Sarah did not give me that one as a heads up because I'd post it in a visual cue to that, but I think it was sort of off the cuff.
What was I have my outline. It's written right here.
Yeah, but you didn't give it to me. Like I would normally say, like, here's the comments, like challenge.
Oh, it's fine.
That would be the same thing. I could cue that up.
Okay, so let me know in the comments if there's something you would like me to show you how to do. For instance, I got 2 emails on this suggestion this week, and the suggestion was that people want to know how to fussy cut a flap and the body of the bag. So for instance, if your bag has a giraffe if your fabric has a giraffe on it and you want the giraffe's head to be on the flap, but you want the body of the giraffe as shown on the fabric to continue on the body of the bag, like you want it to be continuous, how to do that. So I'll be showing that this Sunday, but if you have suggestions for something else, please do leave that in the comments. So I do take everything to heart when people email me. I save
Judy
those
wants
emails.
to cut all the parts of the bag out. Cut all the fabric. She wants to see every single piece being cut.
That would be about a 2-hour long video for doing that. So when I'm making a bag, I normally save the cutting, if possible, for the night before and attaching the interfacing, because it usually takes me 2 to 3 hours to cut the fabric, the interfacing, attach the interfacing, and then by the time you've done all that, you're tired already, but you still have to, get to sewing if that was what your plan was. So I normally like to start fresh at the beginning of the day with the sewing.
People thought this was on my shirt, maybe like an embroidery.
Oh,
That'd been a pretty cool.
Yeah,
try to position myself.
that would be. Okay, so that was later on in my outline, but if you want to talk about
I
that
just like
now.
playing with it. Ed sent us a new toy, And
You
I really
might want to
appreciate
take
it.
that comment off the screen.
No, it's
so
like a
everyone can
sneak
see
peek.
It. No. Go ahead. You can explain it.
We have this product. It's cool. It says So Sweetness on it.
You had a better explanation
Oh,
on
I'm
Instagram
kidding.
Live.
So I was talking to Ed. I had some ideas about getting.
And who's Ed?
Ed is our distributor for our acrylic templates. Him and his wife had some great ideas. I'm so glad they, sent us a package in the mail one day, and we saw it and we loved it, and they've been great for us. I really appreciate it. And Ed, I was talking to, I said I wanted to. Normally in the forums, we'll give out like a gift certificate or someone. For people that have really been helping others, or maybe had just answering questions, or making really cool products, or doing a hack, whatever it may be, it's above and beyond what these people have done, and we've given them either gift certificates, minikins, or whatever products. I was thinking about an award, something like this,
like a trophy kind of thing.
Totally like a trophy, and I saw before that you could take acrylic and say if you design something in. They had these holders that you could change the colors and whatever you show on there. So this is a sublime purse you see in front of you, and Ed, I told him, what I was thinking about. He came back. He sent this out. I didn't ask for it, shortly. I was just brainstorming some stuff with him, and he mailed this to us, and he knocked it out the park. I'm pretty sure he hand drew this bag on here for this design. He found a base that matched it, and this bait you can do. It's actually got a remote over there. If Sarah want to grab, I can show you the remotes. But the remote will do. You see how it's changing colors? It cycles through the colors. You can make the brightness darker, lighter. You can have it do different animations with the colors, cycle faster, slower. Whatever the case may be. So. And
I thought it would be cool if we, sent these awards out and we had the person's name on here and said Bag Lady, Judy, or
whoever it may be.
Whoever it is.
Yeah. You could cycle through the colors. It's such an awesome item. I think it'd be pretty cool. You put this on your shelf. I also wanted to see is the other one over there. It says So Sweetness.
I don't know where you put it. Oh, it's right here.
And something like this. Here's the other one I was talking about. I'd like one for our shelf behind us, maybe while the show's on this.
I really love this one with the bag on it.
The bag for sure.
That's super cool.
He sent us both these. I'd like to show both of them because he did make them, and he made our logo here, which looks great. I think it'd be totally cool. You can make a large one. The cool part is it lights the whole thing up from top to bottom. Whatever's etched in there, because he does laser
engraving.
Yeah, for sure. It lights every single line up, and that's what the cool part is. If I move the side, maybe my shirt would be the best background for it. I do have a lot of fingerprints. You can clean it off; it'll be clean. But it's just a really cool project he made, and I really appreciate that. If you're watching and your wife, thank you guys so much. You've been awesome to us. Thank you, and we will for sure be giving these out as awards. We didn't know the price of it yet, but I do know this. They're so awesome. We're gonna buy them no matter what, and we'll be sending them out to people.
All right.
I'll let it turn itself off.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you were going to leave it on the whole chat.
I want as long as the battery will hold.
So Danny's favorite part of the live shows, we'd like to invite you to go ahead and type either Bag Lady or Bag Dude in the comments. We really love using either of these terms in our live shows, and we not only like, but we love the community that is forming around the word. And speaking of community, I got an email about an hour ago, and I didn't have this in my outline, but I was reading some emails while Danny was finishing up getting ready for the show, and I just wanted to read it. And normally when I read emails, I leave off the person's name for their privacy, just because I haven't told them ahead of time that I was going to be reading their letter on the show, but I just really love. So it's a 2-part letter. So one part was a question, so I'm going to read that part first. I am sewing more and more bags, and I hope to open an Etsy shop shortly. For example, I recently did a special request for the Appaloosa bag, and my machine had real difficulty with sewing when we had layers of foam, Peltex, etc. So I'm considering buying the Juki you are using, and my question is, do you think this is a good idea? Did you have problems sewing the Appaloosa bag? I'm afraid of spending the money on the Juki and then after a few months having to buy an industrial machine. What is your opinion? I really would appreciate your input. So first of all, if you have a local dealer near you that sells the Jukis, a really good idea would be to go in there and test it out. And an even better idea would be to go in with an example of the layers that you're talking about, like what you tried to sew through with the Appaloosa bag. And I'm sure because they want to sell a machine, they'll let you go ahead and throw those layers on the machine. I'm not saying bring a bag in progress, but you could certainly bring some layers of foam and Peltex in there and maybe some fabric or cork if you're planning on sewing with cork. I personally did not have difficulty sewing with the Appaloosa bag, but I do know what you mean. The front of the bag with the accordion pocket is quite thick when everything is coming together. But I haven't had problems with sewing on the Juki. I don't have an industrial machine, although I feel like my machine works similar in nature to an industrial machine, and there's nothing that I've wanted to sew that I couldn't sew. Like, I haven't been in the middle of a project and said, oh, I can't finish this because I can't get through it. Although I will say my cousin last week gave me some leather hides that were from the Wilson Company, who makes footballs. Do they make footballs too, or just
Footballs,
basketballs?
yep, both.
Footballs and basketballs. So these were leather hides, but like the thickest leather I've ever seen. Like, I guess footballs and basketballs are really thick. I do not think I could get 2 layers of that hide through my machine, but it was like, I mean, literally it was probably like almost 1/4 of an inch thick. But anything that you'll need to use for bag making, not had a problem on my Juki. The second part of the letter, which really touched me, and I wanted to share that part as well, said, Sarah, I cannot tell you how much I enjoy your programs. You and Danny, as well as Violet and William, are wonderful. Besides loving your patterns, I have almost all of them. I enjoy your company so much. I am much older. I became 70 this past month. Happy belated birthday to you. And I just started sewing only a few years ago, but sewing and combining the colors and fabrics has made my life happier. My house is a mess because I have many plastic bins in the living and dining room, but that helps me survive these hard years. My husband has a medical issue, and I have many fractures and pains in my spine, so I have to use a wheelchair and or a walker. This has been very difficult to adjust to, but better to stop complaining. In summary, fabrics, bags, and the company of nice people like your family have helped me to survive. So I feel the same way, even though we're not in the same situation. Sewing and the community on Facebook and the community that watches our live shows, comments, asks questions, and contributes, because I feel like we're all contributing in some way. I feel like that has changed my life as well. And I know without sewing and other people who sew, besides my family, because of course I have a wonderful life because of my family, but I
take most credit for that.
I have a hard time connecting with people in real life, especially people that don't sew. And there's days when I might not leave the house, right? There's some days when I don't leave the house.
I almost didn't leave the house today.
No, but I have a happy life because I have things that I love doing. There's people that I love sharing what I do with, which is all of you. So lots of people. So I feel like I have so many friends, which, you know, especially when I was in high school, I could say like I had one or two friends, but I have so many
friends now. Thank God you had 2 brothers.
I have so many friends now who get me, and so even though we're not in the same situation, I hear what you're saying, and I feel this kind of the same way. So.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And thanks for the lovely email. It really made my day.
That's a super nice email.
That's why I wanted to share it. So
I think those are one of the best rewards you get from what you do is when you I know it's not addressed to me, but it's hard not to get feelings over it.
Well, she named you by name, and William and Violet, and I do save emails. Like I have a folder in my inbox called Happy Mail. So someone suggested to me this years ago when something's going not your way, or someone leaves not a nice comment on social media, just save these emails, and then when you're having a bad day, just go to your Happy Mail inbox and read some of them. And so I save them, and I've been saving them for the last few years since I got that advice. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, they really.
I don't think she actually reads them when she doesn't get happy though, because you definitely look angry sometimes.
Maybe because of you, but
probably. No. Plausible deniability on that.
Oh my goodness.
Did I mention this afternoon when Sarah took kids swimming class? I went by my friend's house. He's a super nice fireman, great guy, and I happen to be the three-time Northwest Chicago champion in bag toss. This goes out to you, Nate. Appreciate your let me win, because I don't think I've ever beat him before, and he let me beat him 3 times tonight. So he must want a favor in the future. I don't know what yet.
Bag toss, is that also known depending on the part of the country?
I think it's cornhole and bag toss.
So
There's
basically,
2 variations.
It's a wooden board with a hole in it, and you stand how many feet away, and you throw bean bags in
20 feet away, and there's 2 versions. One has a 3-foot by 2-foot board. Another one has a 4-foot by 2-foot board. Yep.
It's actually pretty fun. It seems really basic.
I love it. It reminds me of a game I used to play with my father when I was younger. We'd play horseshoes at our local parks. People don't realize there's actually horseshoe pits. And you take horseshoes and you throw them down there, and my dad loved doing that, and I used to play with them, and I really enjoyed it. And this is something similar to it.
Okay, so we're going to get to your pick of the week in just a second, but we'd like to invite you, if you enjoy our live videos, to go ahead and, if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit the share button. Regardless, if you're watching on either Facebook or YouTube, you can go ahead, if you like this video, to hit the like button, which is a little thumbs up picture. And either the like or the share really helps us out a lot, because Facebook and YouTube look at all videos, and videos that get a lot of likes and shares, they consider sharing those videos with people that are not familiar with you, have not seen your videos before. So the likes and shares help bring more bag ladies and bag dudes into the fold. So we really appreciate you doing that, and thank you very much. And what do you put in on the screen? Kathy says, Danny, she may be reading one tonight.
You know why she said that?
It took me sometimes jokes take me a second to register in my brain,
Yeah.
but I got it, and that's really funny.
I thought it was pretty funny. That's why I laughed when I was reading the comments. I thought it was pretty funny.
I might be reading some of my Happy Mail letters tonight if you're making me mad.
Just keep it up, Danny. As Bronwyn says, she loves when I'm talking because she likes to watch Sarah's face when I talk. Just watch for the eye rolls and like, is he seriously talking about that right now?
All right, so let's get over to your pick of the week and explain why you liked it, what it is, what pattern it is, and who made it.
All right, this is going to be a tough one because I hope this is the right button for it. We're going to find out shortly. Yes, is the right one.
Okay.
This is, I hope, an airplane bag, I'm guessing.
It is.
And it was by Leslie Smith, and I freaking love the colors, the fabric choice. It just looks amazing. When I saw that, I was like, yep. I didn't even look for any further because I thought that was just right there. That's it. That's the one. Great job, Leslie. Awesome airplane bag.
I love and you can always tell when you're looking at a photo of a well-pressed and finished bag because it looks super professional, and this one clearly does.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a cheater print, which means like the fabric is made to look like patchwork, or Leslie pieced squares and rectangles together, and I love is that called a trellis type print? I love that on the bottom, and then
Is that a damask?
Is that a damask? I'm not sure.
It looks like the damask pattern.
I love the solid straps. I love I'm not sure if that's a luggage sleeve or pocket. I'm leaning toward pocket, but I love that as well. I love seeing, this came up in the Facebook group recently, but someone said, I don't know if Sarah likes to see her patterns modified. I super love to see my patterns modified because that means you put your own spin on it and made the pattern work for you and for your uses. So like if that was a pocket on the front, Leslie needed a pocket for maybe her cell phone or something. Yep. To grab really quickly. So I super love seeing modifications on patterns. It doesn't offend me at all. It makes me really excited, and a lot of times they're ideas that I wouldn't have thought of myself, and I'm kind of like, man, I wish I would have thought of that, but like it's really cool. So
yeah, sometimes Sarah does design bags which say a bag may have a drop-in lining or a turn-in lining. And the reason she's doing that, not necessarily just to be different, she wants to give you different techniques to use when you make another bag in the future. You'll have this skill set. So if in the minikins, you may have, like I say, the drop-in, like one of the minikins has that version versus a turn around, whatever the other option is. I don't know the correct terminology. Excuse me, Sarah. No need to laugh. But you know what I meant. And there's a reason behind it. She's not just trying to be difficult, because I know so many people do not like the drop-ins. But it's a good skill to have once with any skill. Sewing zippers, sewing around curves. Once you start doing these techniques, they become more second nature. And you don't think about it, you just do it. And they turn out nice when you eventually figure that craft out, that skill.
And of course, it's totally fine to have your favorite finishing technique or whatever. But if you know how to do them all, then
yeah,
you can more or less pick and choose and adjust.
Here's my buddy right here. He says, Danny and I played bags. Does that make me a bag dude?
Almost, I guess. I mean, it has the word bag in it. Bean bag. I don't know.
Hey, then I'm a bag dude too, then.
All right. So if you have any questions for me that I can answer live, a sewing question, a bag related question about a technique, my machine, go ahead and ask in the comments. I'm going to answer some questions live.
Nancy says, is that a lamp next to the desktop? This right here.
Yeah. Is that an LED light or what?
Yeah, that is a LED light. You
so
can take it off, show it.
The acrylic template is etched, and when you put it in the holder, it lights up and makes the
It's got little LED
etching light up.
lights.
Yeah.
And because of the side angle and it lights that whole panel up, the whole entire panel gets lit up. So anywhere there's etching, it lights that etching up to whatever color you want.
Really cool.
Super cool. And Ed, if you and your wife are watching this, thank you so much. We'll be talking more in the future. Hopefully the move's going to go smooth for you. Knock on wood, I'm sure it will.
Okay, so before you put the questions up on the screen, in the last week I've had several questions about how much cork a certain project takes. So I pulled out 4 projects that I made with cork fabric, and I'll just show them to you. Tell you.
How about I guess first, and you say the answer.
I like that idea. Okay.
I like playing little games like that.
So what's this pattern?
This is the Oreo bag.
How much cork fabric would you say I would use to make this project?
Half yard.
Okay, and a half yard is what size?
54 by 17 or 18.
Okay, yeah, 18 inches by 54 inches, which is half yard. Quilting cotton's normally 42 inches wide, so it's a little bit wider than regular quilting cotton. So I used a half yard piece to make the Oreo bag.
That's 1 for 1.
Most of the questions I got were about the Baker Street bag. How much
half
cork?
yard.
How much cork? Yeah, I used a half yard piece of cork to make the Baker Street bag. 2 more actually.
Quarter yard.
You're wrong with that, but what pattern is this?
The Sublime bag.
The Sublime bag. I used a half yard piece for this one.
Really?
Because of there's the accent on the front and the bottom, and then the back, and then the handles. And then there's these little pieces here. It
okay,
adds
if
up.
you say so, I believe you.
Well, look how big this piece is.
Hey, I didn't cut it out, so if you say it, I believe you. I'm not gonna argue something I don't know about.
And the fourth one that I pulled out that I made with cork
is half yard.
What pattern is this?
This is the airplane bag, the one we just saw Leslie make.
Okay, so the airplane bag has the panel on the bottom and the straps. So all 4 of those bags I used a half yard piece of cork. So
did you have to piece the handles, or did you have no?
None of these were pieced handles. These were all just a solid cut of cork. So if you're unsure about how much cork, go with the half yard piece. We have a smaller piece that's 18 by 27 inches, which is half of the half yard. That's better for like a small pouch. But if you're planning on cork for a bag, hopefully it'll answer some other questions. The half yard piece, the 18 by 54, is the one that you want to shoot for. Okay, so we'll answer some other questions from the comments now.
First question goes out to Jessica, who also was part of the So Long and gave us advice. I believe she lives outside San Antonio, Texas. Memory serves correct.
We have a good memory. Jessica says, what is the difference between netting fabric and the by Annie mesh fabric? So I have some of the by Annie mesh over here. It comes in lots of different colors. We sell it on the website. It's a half yard packet for $6. So little mesh goes a long way. So this is the mesh from by Annie's. You might be familiar with similar nettings if you have maybe like a lingerie bag for washing your delicates in the washing machine. But the by Annie's mesh is actually coated to make it easier to go through the sewing machine. And it stretches a little bit in one direction, but if you cut it in the opposite direction, it really doesn't stretch all that much. So that can be helpful information as well, to be conscious of which direction you're cutting it in. Other than that, I think when I've seen other nettings at the fabric store, I think I pretty much always only see white. And how many colors would you say we have of the mesh?
I'm going to guess 8.
Oh, no, I think we have like 15.
There's a lot of colors. Guessing. I'm not sure. And there's turquoise, there's a purple, there's yellow, there's red.
I can tell you haven't packed orders in a while, at least with the mesh.
6 months, yeah.
All right.
I can name the colors if I just went through the colors.
Barbara says, are you going to be doing an essential oils bag? I am so excited because tomorrow I ordered...
I thought it was coming today, actually. Didn't that come?
It's coming tomorrow. So I found a manufacturer for a particular notion where essential oils, or you can use... I've round bottles of nail polishes also, but I designed a bag that this notion goes in, that they all the bottles fit inside. I'm super excited about it because it took a while to find just the right thing. But I do have, excuse me, a pattern for essential oils coming out in the next...
It's pretty cool.
Baker's Dozen bundle, and the essential oil pattern has 2 different sizes of cases. So like a travel essential oil, like if you want to take it in your tote bag or purse. And then the other one is for like 25 bottles. So that one would be like for at home. And it fits I buy essential oils in 2 different sizes. It fits the 5 milliliter bottles and the 10 milliliter bottles. The 10 milliliter ones are a little bit snug, but they still fit inside. So we'll show, as we get closer to the date, I'll show you more of the projects. I just have my prototype, which is kind of poorly sewn, so I don't want to show that, but the regular version will look really cool. I'm certain of it. Lauren says, baby girl is 1 month old today. Can you believe it took 35 months for her to get here, and now she's already a month old? I can't believe a month has passed.
That's crazy.
I remember when we were waiting, like, did Lauren have her baby yet? Did Lauren have her baby yet?
And I felt bad for posting questions, but everyone's going to like, hey, did Lauren have her baby? I'm like, I don't know if she had her baby, to be honest. It's a good question.
Yeah. Wow. That
month goes by quick.
Sherry says, saw uncorked cork for sale on eBay. Do you know what that means? So, I believe you're talking about there's a company called Windham Fabrics that makes quilting cotton for quilters. And they have a line of fabric called Uncork, which is quilting cotton, but it looks like cork fabric. So it has like the patterns on it. And I think there's a little bit of metallic in it. It comes in different colors, but it's quilting cotton. So it's not actual cork, but it kind of looks like it. And I've seen people use it for linings, and it looks pretty interesting. So as far as I'm aware, I believe that's the same thing. Donna says, I would like to sew in a recessed zipper in a bag when the pattern doesn't call for it. So the Baker Street bag, which is I showed earlier, is a free pattern and video, and there is a recessed zipper on that. So you can follow the same techniques and maybe just, depending on the size of your bag, make an adjustment for how long you make the panel. I don't have a separate tutorial on how to adapt it for any bag, but I think that's a good starting point. You can reference the video and the pattern for the Baker Street for that. Chelsea says, I'm a bag maker for knitting projects. I've been working on trying to figure out a bag that is divided at the bottom only. Best if not zipped closed so the yarn doesn't rub on it. I do like getting emails with suggestions, especially when people have very particular ones like this one seems to be. So if you want to email me, I don't know if you have a little sketch you could draw out or if you have photos of similar bags. I don't know if the Oslo bag, which is our free pattern and video on YouTube, I don't know if that's the type of divider you're talking about or a shorter one. But if you feel free to email me, my email is sarah@sewsweetness.com, and that's Sarah with no H. Linda says, Decoville Light better than SF101. I haven't actually used Decoville Light. I've used the Decoville Heavy, which I love. But I've not used the Decoville Light, probably because, you know, SF101, also known as Shapeflex, I always have tons of bolts in the basement of it, so I just haven't had the chance to try the Decoville Light, but I'll try to get a hold of some and give it a try. Suzanne said, would love to see mini demos such as airing tips.
Each show. So, but
okay.
Social Sunday, that's the weekly show we have where Sarah does generally give a demo every week. So if you're looking for the demos, tune in Sundays, and we do later post the individual demos, but that's at a later to be determined time.
Yeah, we're a little behind on posting the individual demos, but actually most of the demos are suggestions from viewers. So a lot of people, oftentimes they email me, and I keep an email file with the suggestions, and then when I get to them on the list, I use that suggestion during the video. So this Sunday, I actually had 2 emails about this Sunday's demo. What I'll be demoing is how to cut out fabric for the flap and the body of the bag. Did I explain this already, or was that on just Instagram? Okay. I have really short-term memory, so apparently I don't
even remember you talking about it on Instagram. Shoot.
So what I mean by fussy cutting the fabric for a flap or the body of the bag, say if your fabric has a horse on it, and you want the horse's head to be on the flap, but the horse's body to be continued to the body of the bag. Yeah, fussy cutting, but like specifically for continuing a design from the flap to the body of the bag so it looks continuous and not like chopped up. So I'll be talking about that.
Like the bag right behind my head.
So I'll be talking about that. Oh yeah, good point.
You don't take it down; they can see it.
No, it's all blurry.
Well, then you don't see the imperfection of it.
There's no.
It's pretty close.
I did
to being
pretty
a fuss
good on this one.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what I mean with the fussy cutting. So see how over here the stripes over here and the dots. I'll try to hold it straighter.
And the bikes match up.
Yeah, it sort of matches up. That's kind of what I mean. But like this is sort of easier because it's geometric. But I mean, especially with specific designs, like I said, if there's a horse on it or a big flower or something. So that'll be this Sunday. Ruth says, I printed your Oriole bag pattern 5 times and I still cannot get a 1-inch measurement. Any suggestions? Maybe as my printer. So a few basic tips for printing out a pattern. You never want to open the pattern in your web browser. So for example, on my computer, when my pattern downloads, there's a little tab on the bottom of the screen, and when I click on that, the default is to open that file in a web browser, which looks like, when you're surfing the web, like a web page. You never want to print from that, because that'll be wrong almost all the time. You always want to go to wherever you downloaded that file on your computer and open it using Adobe Reader, and I believe you can set up your computer to open PDF files by default. So you always want to open using Adobe Reader. It's a free program, so if you don't already have it on your device, you can go to the Adobe website and you can download it for free on your computer, your tablet, your cell phone.
We were just talking about this too, because I told Sarah we should probably incorporate maybe like a screen grab, which is like if you're looking at our computer screen, how we're printing it exactly.
What it looks like.
When we open a file up, what we're using to do it, and what it should look like when we select the settings. Yep. And we'll make it a default, so I'll have it on all the videos. In the future coming up, we'll make that as an option.
Another thing is there's a little tick box that says actual size. You always want it to print at actual size, not at scaling or fit to page. And if your printer is printing out the pattern pieces and they look funny, like chopped off, another option is auto portrait / landscape. But try all the other ones first, and that's the last thing that I suggest for printing out patterns. But if you're still having trouble, feel free to email me. I'm happy to help with that. Terry says, what kind of sewing table do you have? So I don't have my Juki came with like a table for quilting. It's really long. I've never used it ever. I don't know if you mean our table in here.
Probably the table you cut stuff up on.
Do you want to just explain? Because I
don't do the cutting.
This table right here, isn't that what she's
I thought you go to a dining room table, actually. Use our kitchen.
I do like our kitchen table for cutting because it's a higher height and it's easier on my back. I was told that cutting fabric or leaning over on a shorter table is really bad for your back. So I'm trying to use the kitchen table so I'm standing more straight when I'm cutting my fabric out. Donalyn says, could you sew a bag with lots of leather or vinyl bag with your Juki machines? I'd rather not purchase an industrial machine if I don't have to. So I have a video about my Juki machine that we shot. I think it was in January. It's on YouTube or on my website, so you can find it either of those two places. And near the end of the demonstration in the video, I took a lot of layers of cork and foam interfacing. I can't remember how many. It might have been 3 of each or 4 of each. And I just cut up these squares and I put it through the sewing machine just to show how many layers it could sew through. So it's a lot of layers, and certainly more than what I normally use for a bag. Penny says, when is the Baker's Dozen being introduced? Will you give us a date? So we're shooting for October because it's 12 patterns. And actually we have a bonus pattern because if you've been around during our live videos before.
It's a Baker's Dozen.
Well, yes, obviously she has, but we had a vote for what the extra bonus pattern would be, the 13th pattern, and the winner of the vote, it was a very close vote, was a cooler, like to keep lots of sandwiches and drinks cool when you go to a ball game or some other event. So we're shooting for October. It depends on how fast we can get all 13 videos filmed. I'm still finishing up the patterns. All the patterns are written, but there still needs to be work done on those patterns, and projects need to be made. So we're shooting for October. Do you have any other thoughts about how fast we could get that done?
I'm gonna guess we get it done in September. That's my heads up guess.
Okay, we might. The kids go back to school, I think September 4th this year, somewhere around there, after Labor Day. So when they go back to school, we could just every day do a video or 2.
Pound it out, yeah.
Cheryl says, when can you hope to receive the pearl cork? Super excited to see. We actually have the pearl cork. We got it last week, but our order volume has been really huge. It's finally under control, and I think I feel comfortable making the promise that we'll list it on the shop. Maybe after the live show, I'll put it back in stock because we do have it in stock.
We had multiple comments about Tula Pink fabric as well. They wanted to ask
the Tula Pink fabric. We did not get all of our De La Luna fabric. I had a very small amount that I listed on the website, but I didn't say anything about it anywhere because it was gone like in a second, and I figured it probably would be. I did get billed for the second shipment, which is probably 70 bolts. So as soon as we get it, we'll relist it on the website and hurry up and cut it. And we'll let you know on both those things, the pearl cork and the Tula Pink fabrics, as well as the acrylic templates, because I know a lot of those are out of stock. We'll let you know on the live shows and keep you updated on what's going on with that. Sunshine Stitches says, how much sewing time do you get in a day or a week? In other words, what is your routine sewing schedule? Unless I'm working on a pattern, I get very little sewing time in. I'm working on the Summer Sampler 2018, which is one quilt block a week. It's not designed by me, but it's several quilt pattern designers, and I purchased the subscription and I'm participating. But it's a new block every Monday, so for sure I'm sewing about every Monday when the new block comes in.
Did you sew this Monday's block already?
I did not.
It seems like it's gonna be a really awesome quilt so far with the
I'm
blocks I've
excited
seen.
about it, but there's a lot of behind the scenes that both of us take care of, and that usually doesn't involve a lot of sewing. So if I sew a few hours in a week, I'm lucky. But I'm working on those new patterns right now that we just talked about, the Baker's Dozen. So yeah, I am getting a lot of sewing in because of that, and it's been fun. It's fun to have different schedules of things, different routines, and sometimes I need to be on the computer more, and sometimes I have a little bit more time, and I would always choose to do more sewing if possible. Kyla says, can you recommend a good iron for pressing bags? So my iron, oh, it's in the other room. I can go grab it though, right?
You just talk about it or whatever.
Oh, I'll go grab it.
What's nice about this show is we don't have our mics attached. We use like a wireless overhead mic, and it seems to work out pretty good.
Okay, so here's my iron. I bought this iron in
I feel like you had it forever.
2013. Actually, I didn't buy this particular one. In 2013, I did a review on irons for a website called Sew Mama Sew, and I reviewed, I think, 5 different irons. So a very in-depth review, like, for example, some of the things that I checked out was how easy is the company to deal with through customer service. Like, if you call on the phone or if you email, if you have a question, do they email back, or do they respond, or do they just not answer you? What kind of water do you have to use in the iron? I tested all the irons with different fabrics, different types of fabrics, to see how well they pressed or if I needed to iron longer. So that was a fun review, and this was, I didn't get to keep all the irons, but this is the one that I did get to keep, but that was from 2013. And this iron has been fantastic. Before that, I had a Rowenta, which after
Water.
I think the warranty was for 1 year, and like 2 weeks after the warranty ended, the iron started leaking the water. So I still have the iron, but I don't put water in it anymore, and I actually I really don't use it for anything much. But this one, I always have water left in it.
Water in it right now, I can see.
Yeah, there's water in it right now. I bought 2 more of these. It's the Singer Expert Finish Iron. I've seen them on Amazon for like almost $60, so they're relatively inexpensive compared to other irons. But it is one of those irons you have to keep upright. It's not one of the, I think they're pronounced Oliso, where you can leave the iron down, and after a few minutes of non-use, it kind of elevates. So it's not one of those irons, but I love it a lot. And I know it's not the most expensive one, but it's really great. Teresa says, what is the reason you would use a pressing cloth? So the main reason is, especially with bag making, or if you're doing applique where you have a fusible, the pressing cloth protects your iron from getting adhesive on it, which used to happen to me a lot. I guess I've been lucky in recent years because my iron looks pretty clean. But that's one of the reasons. Also, a pressing cloth helps, especially during garment sewing, if you're working with delicate fabrics or fabrics that need to be not have so much heat on them. The pressing cloth protects the fabrics, but in this case, for bag making, I'm using a pressing cloth to protect my iron so it stays nice and clean. You'll probably notice in my videos I don't use a pressing cloth when I'm demonstrating how to attach interfacing, but I always recommend using one because no one wants to clean off a gunky iron. That's no fun. Susan says, what would you use Decoville Heavy for instead of what Pellon? So Decoville Heavy is a good substitute for Peltex, but it's not exactly the same, and I have a hard time describing it, and the descriptions that I've seen online for the Decoville Heavy call it a leather-like interfacing, and I'm not sure if that reads leather to me, like when I feel it in person, but it is a bit thinner, so it's not as thick as the Peltex, and I feel like it's more, it gives the thickness but without the extra bulk, because Peltex is a little bit thicker. A lot of people use it for wallets. I just got some recently, and I plan on using it for areas that I would have used Peltex before. So I feel like I'll have more to suggest once I've used it more, but the little I've used it, I really liked it a lot. In the U.S., it's not widely available like Peltex is, so that's another concern for me as well. As a pattern writer, it's difficult suggesting certain interfacings that not everyone can get, and I know that's the case certainly because not all areas of the world have access to the same things that I do in the U.S., but I don't know. Maybe one day soon the Decoville will be more widely available, but it is a good alternative to Peltex. Penny says, can you give us a few tips working with cork? So I do have a video on YouTube and on my website on sewing with cork, but just a few pointers. Cork is very similar to working with leather or vinyl in that the needle will leave permanent holes. However, I've had good luck in the past with any of those 3 substrates by hitting, say if I had to rip a seam, hitting that area with a bit of steam, and a lot of times the steam will kind of sort of help the fabric to bounce back and fill those holes in. I usually use Oregon 9014 needles or Schmetz Microtex needles. I like using Orifil 40 weight thread for bag making in general, and I use that for the cork fabric as well. Depending on the climate, I don't know if it has something to do with humidity or what, but sometimes of the year I need to use either my Teflon foot or walking foot with cork, and you would use the same things for leather or vinyl. Sometimes of the year I can get away with just using my regular foot, but if I do a test sew and I notice my regular foot is starting to drag on the cork, I'll just go ahead and switch out to the Teflon foot. So those are some basics. The nice thing about the cork is that it can be cut and left raw. So for example, if you're like the Sublime bag that I showed earlier, so these tabs were not sewn right sides together, so it was just 2 pieces of cork, wrong sides together, but the edges are raw. So that's the nice thing about the cork.
And that bag looks like this bag on here.
Oh, it does. They're twinsies. Anyway, that's another nice thing about the cork fabric. With straps and things, you can.
Hey, Sarah, what's on your shirt?
Arlene says, "What's on your shirt?" So this is. I've had this shirt for a few years. This shirt was designed by
Downtown Housewife.
An artist called Downtown Housewife, and it was in conjunction with Tula Pink. So this is the Tula Pink frog.
Prince
and
Charming.
At the top, it's from her Prince Charming fabric line. It says Tula Pink and Downtown Housewife, and it's one of my favorite shirts. I wear it all the time. Melissa says, "Hi Sarah, you mentioned a while back about a So Sweetness embroidery pattern. Have you posted that? I love to embroider the logo on my bags." Oh, I think I said I would get it posted because somebody digitized my logo for me and I forgot, so I'm gonna write that down. Digitized logo. I'll post that in the Facebook group. I have to find it. I know it's in my email somewhere because I saved it. Kyla says, "Does your Juki have an empty bobbin warning?" My Juki does not have an empty bobbin warning, which is sometimes infuriating because the bobbin always runs out in the hardest step in the pattern, like the step where you finish it and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that step is over, and then I look and there's no bobbin thread. Darn it. So
many videos I've been.
Yeah, we've done that on videos so many times.
Not once, not twice, but over a handful of times.
A ton of times.
Yeah.
And
happens.
Sometimes I tell Danny, like, just leave it like that. Like, maybe they won't notice that there's no thread.
But you really can't see the bobbin thread, right? Anyways, generally?
Yeah, I know, but it wouldn't be picking up the thread on the top, so it would just be like a line of thread. Kathy says, "I don't know how y'all do it. I placed an order last night, and it was saying it shipped an hour later. Do y'all even sleep?" So I'll let you... my voice
Sleep is for the wicked, and I am so not wicked. I honestly sleep maybe like 5-6 hours a night on average. Sometimes less, sometimes more. Just, there's a lot of stuff to get done. I like to research stuff maybe too much, and I'll get caught up into it, and before I look at it, it's already 3-4 a.m. in the morning. And I like to print orders more at nighttime now than in the morning because it just works faster. So I like to print a bunch of orders as fast as possible.
Like at 2 or 3 a.m.
Whatever the time
He'll
may
often
be.
print the orders, and I'm not saying you're packing all those orders at 2 or 3 a.m.
They go right in the morning.
But we do, the last 2 nights we packed orders. We don't normally pack the orders.
At nighttime.
My cousin who works for me normally does, but we had a lot going on, and we wanted to evenly distribute the work, so we did orders the last 2 nights, and that was at like 11 o'clock at night. So when you're self-employed, you can fit the work in whenever you need to fit the work in, right?
Yeah, just roll with the punches.
Katie says, "What would you recommend for a pressing cloth?" So they actually do sell them in the store as a pressing cloth. I have a bolt of muslin that I use for making like test garments, and I've used that for pressing cloths before. I like white because you can see more of what you're doing, but I've used, I know I really shouldn't, but I've used like a scrap of Kona white before, but the muslin fabric works great for a pressing cloth also. So anything, it's basically just a cheap fabric that you're using as protection. Glorimar says, will you guys consider using closed captioning on other languages? It's been a while since I've looked into the closed captioning, but
one problem would we wouldn't have someone to proofread or what they're using as our translation, so it might be translating it incorrectly.
It is translating incorrectly because I looked into it on Facebook. Yep. And there's a button that says, I forgot what the button reads, but basically you push the button and it translates the whole video into text on the screen. The problem is, like, just about every screen of text, like, so every sentence that I would be saying, there would be an error, which means I would have to manually go through and correct all of those. And I know there's services that do that, but I think someone emailed me about this recently as well, and I think the charge for manual transcription was $1 a minute, but we do a lot of videos, and certainly the 2 live videos a week, besides the other bag videos, and it's just, I wish there was a better option. Like, I wish you could just hit a button and it translates it, and it would be accurate, but
magically.
There were huge problems, and it wasn't just simple words. It was very wrong, so not coming up right on the screen at least. So if anyone knows something that's more accurate, let me know, and we'd be happy to, because certainly we don't want to leave anyone out as far as to enjoying the videos. So yep. If you have a better solution, let me know. Another question, will Shapeflex bond to a fuzzy flannel type faux leather? That's a good question. So I have to admit the vinyls or the faux leathers with the fleece on the back are not my favorites because they're really hard to cut raw. Certainly if you're sewing them into the body of the bag, it's not as much of an issue. I'm not sure if I've ever tried to fuse it on the fuzzy faux leathers. I'm sure you can probably test a little square. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I even have any of those left, because whenever I get like a faux leather with the fleece on the back, I usually give it to someone because I just don't want to sew with it. Sue says, please give tips for the proper types of zippers to use. Terrified to sew a tab end onto a zipper. So I do have a video we did a couple months ago about different types of zippers. So I show like the handbag zipper, a number 3 dress skirt zipper, zippers with metal teeth, and how to remove metal teeth on the zippers to make them easier. So that's on the YouTube channel and on the website. If you're using a zipper with nylon teeth, those are a bit easier to sew with, and I would recommend using those first above anything, especially if you're nervous. So just get a regular nylon zipper, not with metal teeth. And you can always practice. I often have zippers that are longer than the project that I need, and if you're worried about sewing the tab onto the zipper, you could just cut a little, 1 or 2 inch section of the zipper off and make a practice tab and practice sewing that on before you get to your real project if you like. Tammy says, what is the tension and pressure of the presser foot set to on your machine? So when we took, 2 months ago, we took both of the Jukies in for maintenance, and they advised me that the tension should be set to number 4, the dial on the front. I've always had mine set between 1 and 2, but really close to 2. So I guess I'm wrong with that. And also the presser foot pressure, I like having it set all the way down, so like the lowest setting. And when I got it back, they had it set all the way up to the top. So I guess according to the dealer, I'm using my machine wrong, but that's just what I personally like. And you can always test this on your fabric first, but that's what I always have my machine set at. Pat says, are you shipping the last of the Core Club early? Great question. So the month 6, which is our last month, we started printing shipping labels out earlier tonight before our kids' swimming lessons. I think tomorrow's the day that Danny and the kids are going to start putting the packages together, right?
Yep.
Is that, which is early. Normally we're sending out on the 1st of the month, so that would be August 1st. But the fabric's almost all cut. I think there's about a half hour worth of cutting left. And so we are planning on sending that out early.
Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll get some packages out.
Hopefully tomorrow. Not everyone has been rebilled, so if you have not been rebilled, we can't ship out your package till you have been, but Everyone will get their packages, I promise. We may or may not post the video early, though. Do you think we should?
Well, since we didn't shoot it yet, to my knowledge, I don't think we could post it early until we shoot it. So I can't answer that question until we actually shoot said video.
So we may or may not post the video early, but we are trying to get all the packages out early.
Diane and I could be friends.
Diane says, I am retired, so staying up all night sewing is not an issue.
I'm not retired, but staying up all night is not an issue for me either.
I would stay up all night if I could, but like by 8 or 8:30, I'm so tired and ready for bed, right? Even before the kids are ready to go to bed, I'm like, I'm out, guys.
Someone said I should share my gamer tag for Fortnite. Well, I will share that with you. Anyone who wants, if there's any person that plays Fortnite, my gamer tag is time_Lord. And that's Time Lord for Doctor Who. So, if you got that, rewind it, put it back. If you send me a friend request, I'll assume it's from So Sweetness, and it's not some person just send me a weird request, because I do get them sometimes. I'm thinking it's like my friend's sons, because I'll play with my kids, and their friends will play, and their friends will try to friend me, and I generally do not friend them back, because if we ever see their parents like, are you friends with my son playing video games? Like, nope, it's not me. I don't know. But, yeah, I think it's pretty much it. What do you think? There's a lot of questions still. I hate to end it early, but I mean, it's already going pretty long, Sarah. So it's up to you what you want to do.
I just this one over here, because that was funny. Yeah, I noticed this. Terry says your kids are so quiet during the shows. Do you lock them in a closet or something? So I'll let you answer this one.
No, they're upstairs. Probably, William's definitely probably playing Fortnite. I'm guessing Violet might be playing with him, or she's watching probably a Netflix show or something like that. They wait until we say, hey, guys, come back down. Show's over. Let's go get some ice cream tonight. That's where our plan was.
Yeah, banana split time.
Yep.
Yeah, we just started watching, you said Violet might be watching TV. We just started watching Anne with an E. It's a Netflix show, and it's really good. As a kid, I read all of the Anne of Green Gables books, and the show is awesome. But anyway, it has nothing to do with sewing, but... all right, so thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for asking your questions and participating in the chat. That's really awesome to see as well. We'll see you again next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Have a great rest of the week and happy sewing.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.